Welcome to Tarmac Life. We're here for the fun toys, cars, SUVs, utes, flights, hotels, because the journey matters too, and even the odd motorbike when we feel like living dangerously. Epic drives and unforgettable experiences, all served up with plenty of banter and zero boring nonsense.
On tonight's show, we're heading off to Europe to check out the new BMW i3 Neue Klasse. We go wild in Madagascar, and we're celebrating the birthday of a legend. The Golf GTI turns 50.
Kia and thanks for joining us on what we would deem an international flavour for this week's episode. And that brings me straight on to a good old-fashioned whinge, and that is courtesy. You see, I come from a land where people wave at each other. Driving along, we wave. We're just very, very intermingled. We don't look at each other, but we do sort of wave. And I live in an area here where double-lined or cars down either side sort of pull in and you sort of wave at people and they don't wave back. What is it? Why is there a lack of courtesy here in New Zealand for waving?
And you just feel so dumb when you actually wave at someone and then you get nothing in return, right? I remember that not too long ago I disembarked in Niue, one of the Pacific Islands here close to New Zealand. And there at the airport I was told that it is a rule for that country that you wave at every single person that you drive in traffic. And I almost brought that habit back with me. I wave at everyone, but I don't think that I get all those waves back in return.
Well, I don't know where you guys live because I get waved at a lot. Admittedly, though, it's usually with either one or two fingers. I'm not sure if you'd call that a wave.
Actually, that probably says a lot about your driving rather than anything else. But also pedestrians. When you're heading across a pedestrian crossing, why not give us a little bit of wave or a little wave to acknowledge that we're not running you down. We've sort of pulled up and we've stopped and allowing you to cross in front of us. Anyway, continuing with the wave thing, we head up to Europe to say or give a little wave to the BMW i3 Neue Klasse. That's next. Today we've got our first look at the all-new 8th generation BMW i3. Not only is it the first sedan in the Neue Klasse, but it also upholds the 50-year tradition of the 3 Series. Come, let's take a good look and a walk around it. This is what they call the experience model, which is basically a pre-production model. And but ultimately what you can see is very much got a new design language, and yet it still is an all-electric driver's car. Looking around the front here, what they've done is they've incorporated a lot of the, I guess, older 3 Series elements and put it all into this in a very expressive and yet confident looking vehicle. So around the front here, the kidney grills uphold the tradition of going wider and sort of more expansive. And what they've done is they've got the 4 headlights, or 4-eyed headlights, and also dual kidney grills. So you've got a sort of an inner kidney grill and an outer one. So it looks immensely wide and gives it that lovely expansive front. There's also a lovely valley down the front here, which is part of this bonnet setup, and that incorporates the BMW logo. It looks very, very cool. Now, while we are at the front here, what you can see is it's retained its shark nose and it's slightly leaning forward. And what that is giving you all the ADAS systems and radars right behind here. So it actually works as a dual purpose, as looking great, but also being very, very smart and technically advanced. What you've also got is under the bonnet is a frunk, right? So rather than an engine, because this is all electric, if you lift the bonnet here, there is a frunk. Can't lift it because, like I said, it's a pre-production model. But also behind all this is the power system, which is, like I said, all electric. And it will deliver 345 kilowatts of power and 645 Newton meters of torque. Massive. And I believe there's going to be a motor on each wheel, which that's just going to be tremendous. It's retaining its 2.5 box design, but also if you looked at it as a casting a shadow, it's unmistakably a 3 Series. Up the front here, you've got 21-inch feet that are now more aerodynamic. And as you run down the side here, you've got flush door handles and also a lower shoulder and belt line. So look at that flow. Keep coming back here and you've got a new element on the back door here that flicks up and actually incorporates the Hofmeister kink, and the wheel arches back here are accentuated, giving it that more sense of power and masculinity. Round the back here you've got another sort of smaller valley which again has the BMW emblem, and also L-shaped lights that have this shoulder to shoulder width of a light bar, so very much accentuates its width. The other thing is, in terms of length, it's retained the same length, but there is a longer wheelbase, which actually means that there's more room inside. So let's go there. Now, a lot of the extra room can actually be felt in the rear seats, so there is more leg room back there. But the cockpit at the front here is very driver focused, so it incorporates all this new Neue Klasse technology. It's got an infotainment screen that's very much focused towards the driver, and actually it is actually now closer to me. You've got this beautiful panoramic vision up the front here, which does have all the information there. You've got a panoramic roof and also an iconic steering wheel, which does just feel so great in the hands and just has this shy wear and everything at your fingertips when you need it. It's very, very cool. There are actually going to be 4 level interior trims, and 3 of them are actually vegan. The unfortunate thing is we're not going to see it down in New Zealand till around about 2027, which is just so long. It's so far in advance, I just can't even think about it. But fingers crossed, I'll be trying to get a drive for it before then. Stay tuned. See you soon.
Introducing the all-new Subaru Forester with next-generation strong hybrid and over 1,000 kilometre range. The all-new Subaru Forester. Get ready to own the road and conquer the wild. Have it all-wheel drive with Subaru.
On tonight's news, well, petrol prices have gone up yet again. I think we're up to $3 a litre or something now. And so the big question is, with petrol being what it is that going to, well, in a way, drive people to buy EVs now? What do you guys think?
Well, I think that we do love a little bit of panic buying, don't we? So not too long ago, we were jumping over one another to get toilet paper and all the sort of toiletries and stuff. And now it is a little bit of that on the EV sphere as well. And being an EV owner myself, and I know that I talk about that a lot, Facebook groups and Instagram posts and stuff, you can see that a lot of people are more interested about going EV right now. So it's sad that this is what it takes for people to sort of open their minds and start thinking about alternative means of transportation. But we could see a little bit of a shift in that regard.
On the Facebook side of things, I've seen there's a few sort of, I don't know, people, EV owners that have gone, oh, look at us now. I don't have to worry about going to the petrol pumps or anything like that. I think they're missing the point on that, because their food prices are going to go up. All the other prices that surround what's going on is going to go up. And yes, fuel prices are going up, so it's going to hurt people with ICE engines as well. But I don't know if it's a temporary blip or not, because once the conflict goes through, which it will end at some point, once our orange friend has stopped doing what he's doing, I think there will be, well, it'll be back to business as usual. And then, but I don't. It's not a bad thing that there's more EVs going to be out there, I don't think.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And on that specific topic, if people have solar, then you will absolutely never see the end of it, because they get to fuel their car at home and then also using the rays of the sun. So believe me, I know that narrative all too well. And yeah, as you said, it's we can forget a little bit about that because the trucks that are transporting the goods, they are not solar powered and they're not EVs. So unfortunately, we all have to bear the consequences in one way or another. So hoping that it ends off in a good way and soon.
But does it drive more cars? I don't know. I mean, as we discussed earlier, it does hurt the fact, I mean, Honda have decided that they're not going to go and produce any more EVs. So that's hurt the industry a lot. So when one side is actually, in theory, getting more demand, there's going to be a decrease from top companies like Honda.
I think the interesting thing was it was their Zero series as well, and they made a lot of noise that this is going to be like a flagship product, a real sort of benchmark for their electrification move forward. And then before, you know, we've even seen, well, barely seen a concept of those things, gone off the charts already, off the table. So really interesting that they've canned that. And apparently, with this latest move from Honda, the whole bill now from the industry having to cut their proposed EV plans or, you know, retune things from what they had predicted, or well, how well electrification would go. That bill is sitting at about 20 billion now for the car industry. So it's not been cheap to reevaluate all these things and to, you know, cancel planned vehicles and stuff like that.
It feels so weird that it's almost like this pendulum that goes so hard in either direction, right? When we started having the movement towards electrification and of course the legislation pushing everyone to go zero emission by 2030, 2032, 2035, and then this massive pushback on the other way, just costing companies a lot of people, a lot of effort, and this enormous mountain of money. So it's weird to see how that also helps shape people's opinion about either side of the spectrum, and especially for the Japanese brands that have always been a little bit more reluctant to adopt electrification when you compare to the European brands. So it's just a signal of the times, all that pushback now translating into actual culling of the models. I don't know what's going to happen for the brands that are all into electrification now.
I tell you, it's really spooky. It really is spooky.
Speaking of spooky, I want to kind of uncover this. So France have basically been through their records and realized that they have about 1 million cars that are ghost cars, if you like. So what the story is that a few years ago, they realized that their car registration process was too bureaucratic, too much red tape. So they decided, okay, car dealers, you can have some responsibility to go into the system and register a car. Now that went as well as you could imagine with entrusting car dealers with such a responsibility. And so, well, you end up with today about 1 million registrations that have either been, you know, are a product of fraud, essentially. So guys, I'd like to introduce you to my Renault 5 right here.
I love that. I love the French. Who cares about registrations? Who cares
What could possibly go wrong, right?
But something that isn't going away, well, hopefully, is the GTI that celebrates 50 years, and that is just cracking. All three of us have owned GTIs along the way, and I have to say I've loved my GTI, and I'd have it back again any day.
Yeah, it's the quintessential hot hatch. It's sort of there were a few before, but it's the one that really solidified what is the hot hatch in everyone's minds. And it's a car that I hold dearly in my memory. And yeah, it's grown. It's become a little bit more sort of luxurious and refined as the years gone by. But it is still a hoot to drive. And it's really great to see it celebrating such an important milestone. And now in Mark 8.5 land, it is still a great car. And I wonder what they're holding for the next 50.
Well, I put a celebratory model out as well, which is great. So
the three of us all have really good GTI stories to tell, and I think one of my most memorable ones has to be in my review of the Mark 8 GTI, where I said those three letters more than 50 times in that short review video. Every GTI, 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 GTI-ness, GTI, 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 like.
take a shot every time that
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
It'd be absolutely plastered if you did that.
It's everything you've always wanted. The all-new Suzuki Fronx.
With the Tarmac team being made out of 3 expats, we could talk about how it is driving in different parts of the world for hours. But in tonight's Tarmac Torque, we are actually talking to someone that not only has driven in many different places, but has actually made films about such things. Ruben Feature, thank you so much for having us. And well, tell us a little bit more about how you got to make such films.
Brilliant, thanks so much for having me on the show, Harry. I went to Madagascar recently and I had a cool experience where I went over there and caught up with a close friend and we acted in the short film titled Estranged. That's to be released in a couple months' time. Whilst I was there, I had a fantastic experience capturing some of the less seen vehicles, particularly the French vehicles like the Renault 5L. But I tell you what, my experience in Madagascar has been second to none. The people are beautiful, the culture. You know what really surprised me there with the little that they have? Now in New Zealand, when it comes to washing cars, we like to wash our cars, you know, maybe once a week, every 2 weeks. So many people there wash their vehicles daily.
Wow.
No warrant of fitness required. The little that they have, they wash their vehicles almost daily. And so you'll find broken vehicles clean as a whistle. I couldn't believe it.
It is such a different place with so many different stories to tell, and you could talk about hours just about the environment that you are exposed while you are there. And then of course for us car people, you are always spotting everything that is driving around. The only way you can actually open your mindset to these different experiences by actually having them. And how did you then mix the opportunity for this experience then with the idea of making a film about it?
The experience to go to Madagascar was very much driven out of a friend that I met here in New Zealand who has a passion for marine conservation. Essentially, we shot a scene here in New Zealand at Motor Central, a dirt bike track. We hit it off and we thought, yeah, let's create a short film. Let's do it. All right, well, I live in New Zealand. You live in Madagascar. Why don't we create the second half of the film in Madagascar?
That's
great.
And
why don't we have a mother that raised us both, and we're now estranged brothers? So how about, you know, you've come to my country, I'm going to go to yours.
How
Should
cool
we do
is
it?
that?
All right. Let's do it.
So with enough teasing, of course, we will get to see your film once it is eventually released. But the one that he did about the transportation is the one that we get to check out right now.
Hi, I'm Ruben and welcome to Madagascar. I'm here to explore the less touristy and remote areas of this tropical island and talk transport. Madagascar is the 4th largest island in the world, alongside Africa, and it's one of the poorest nations. This island is about twice the size of New Zealand and has a population of 32 million. French is much wider spoken here than English, while Malagasy is their local language. I was told by my driver that there's roughly 200 Ford Rangers on this island. These utes certainly have demand in both the agriculture and inner city areas. There are also quite a few motorbikes, as owning a vehicle, like a car or a ute, is relatively expensive for many. A lot of the constructed roads in Madagascar are a combination of sand and stone, but bitumen is used in the built-up highway areas. Now this man here is repairing the neglected road and local passerbys tip him, and that's how he makes an income. Dusty roads here are very standard. This clay brick road here has seen better days. A Toyota Land Cruiser will shine. I'm not so sure about this Renault 9. I think getting from A to B is much more of a priority than driving in comfort. In fact, I think all these vehicles could do with a bit of lubrication and require some much needed TLC.
Very impressive. Bonjour. That's one way to transport.
This Renault 5L is an absolute beauty. We need more of these in New Zealand. Great for inner city parking and cute. Good on these local mechanics repairing the tyre rim you see here. But seriously, no safety goggles? Eyesight guys, come on. Radiators, buy one refurbished, as long as they don't leak. Warrant of fitnesses, they're not required, but a registration is. Puspos and tuk-tuks are widely used in the small villages outside of the capital in Tanarivo. I found that in instead of driving, it wasn't too bad. You sort of just give way and the biggest vehicles tend to have the upper hand. Isn't the scenery impressive? Here we see rice fields, and those waters, they're actually crocodile infested, so no swimming. Oxen cart, good on them. That yoke sure looks tiring. Accommodation. Now we stayed here in Dusty Bee for a night. It's next to a rainforest where wild lemurs suspend between trees, and it makes one of the tourist attractions. This village hut looks so unique and simply pretty. I had to capture this. The journey continues. Here we see more Zebu pulling carts of goods to the market. I was absolutely enjoying myself. It pays to have an experienced local driver that can speak a little bit of English as well as French. Downloading a French to English translator on the phone makes communication so much easier. Eucalyptus leaves are used for starting outdoor stove fires, fuel for cooking. Electricity and safe drinking water are in short supply in Madagascar, so fire is essential for boiling water and heating food. The waterfalls. This waterfall looks so refreshing, and this young Malagasy lad made $1 for his family by jumping off the waterfall. Chameleons need no words to describe their beauty. Unlike the sound of a croaking frog, that's the sound of a lemur. The strangest sound you may ever hear. No, I could not find King Julian, but he was somewhere. Our traffic was congested, as congested can possibly get. What an experience, and thank you to the people of Madagascar. Salama and farewell. This is Ruben signing out for Tarmac Life.
As I said before, there is no other way than really opening your mindset to different experiences and also driving experiences other than just being in these countries and just being there, driving, grabbing a car by its steering wheel and trying out driving in such a different place such as Madagascar. What really stood out to you, Ruben?
Being in the tropics, being in the savannah. You've got wetlands, you've got dry lands, rice fields. Look, how stunning is it to be able to drive with rice fields on either side, to experience the fact that when I step out of my vehicle and if I do what I may do when nature calls in Madagascar, I'm going, oh wait, are there crocodiles here? So, you know what, this is one of those experiences where that stood out to me, just being aware of the environment. Also, just the satisfaction of being able to experience warm, consistent weather.
Oh, yes.
Because here in Auckland, New Zealand, Harry, it does change, as we know. It's never consistent. You get rain, you get 4 seasons in one day.
Yeah, the only constant is change, especially as we are approaching these other months of the year, right? So I can definitely relate to having more steady weather, especially if it is beautiful as it was back there. Yeah. And then, of course, the cars that you will see along the way as you are driving. You get all those Renaults that you are so passionate about.
Oh, the Renault 5L, absolutely. Can I just jump in there? Because I tell you what, Harry, the 5L, impressive. 1972, it was one of the first vehicles to do 100 Ks in 5 litres. And I thought, well, that's, 20 Ks per litre of fuel. Efficiency, you know, if you can get one of these, they're pretty cute too, right? Punchy, they're short, they're just fun cars.
And so quirky. Back when the French were making super quirky cars, I'm a big fan. And come on, getting those levels of efficiency back 50 years in time. No technology, no super advanced computers, no tire technology. It was just ingenuity and French quirkiness. Yes, absolutely. See, I support that
Love
decision.
the French, love the French.
But then, of course, now with you being back from Madagascar, safe and sound, I know that you have a few other projects in your sort of a pipeline coming about. A few different spots than Madagascar, very different, could not be more different. Tell us more a little bit about it.
Brilliant, thank you. Yes, well, I'm very enthused to be heading to Japan in a few months' time, looking at experiencing a bit of the culture there, understanding a bit about the manufacturing side there in Japan. I mean, what, 37 million people in Tokyo? I'm going to Tokyo, and yeah, I look forward to sharing that at some point.
Well, of course, right? And if you were talking about manufacturing and transportation, there's just so much to talk about when it comes to Japan. And as you said, 37 million people just crammed in one city like that. It just tells a lot of stories about their efficiency in transportation, the Shinkansen, all the crazy stuff that they do. So I'm sure that you will enjoy it a lot, and hopefully we get to see it too.
Brilliant. And I mean, to think that Madagascar's 32 odd million people, you've got 37 in Japan. Literally, New Zealand fits into Madagascar twice. Yeah, no, right into that new environment. Looking forward to it. Over COVID, quite some time ago, the film, the Peter Plumley Walker Murder Scandal, was being filmed, and that's going to be released very, very shortly. Can't wait to see that hit the cinemas.
Ruben, thank you so much for spending the time with us, telling a little bit more about that, and of course sharing the video that we just saw as well.
Harry,
thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Greatly appreciated.
So I've got to say, I grew up in Uganda, and watching that film on Madagascar, Ruben's time there, reminded me a little bit of my early childhood. But we think about these places as not really having a car culture, but then you saw that Renault 4 still going, the 2CV, the Renault 11. Isn't that cool, like to see those relics still being used on the road, still, somebody's daily?
That's right. It says a lot about the reliability or the perceived reliability of these cars, right? And of course, you have to have the ubiquitous Land Cruiser everywhere. It is what keeps those countries moving. Although, have you noticed that he says, I lived here, lived there, lived everywhere? The guy is a citizen of the world.
Exactly.
But it was really good to see that it might be a place where you get to enjoy those cars. It doesn't look like you are always held back by traffic regulations and stuff. You just make it your own adventure. It's amazing. I love it.
I think it would be your idea of paradise, Mr. Modified Cars and dropping things low and stuff like that, because no wharfs, right?
So there you have it. Ruben has showed us how they like to move it in Madagascar. We've actually waved hello to the i3 Neue Klasse, and also we've actually said and celebrated GTI's 50th anniversary. That's fabulous. See you next week. Just smile and wave, boys. Just watch the Madagascar piece.
Are you going to say just smile and wave, boys?
I'm going to do that at the end.
Okay, all right.
Let him cook.
I'm all right.
I always worry when you think.
It's a rarity.
And we could well see the presence of these ghost cars on the road or ghost brands in the future. But speaking of that sort of extraterrestrial stuff,
I'll just start that with, speaking of spooky, I laid it up for you.
And you said extraterrestrial if you were looking for paranormal.
Paranormal, that's it. Thank you.
English.
Yeah, Colin, you're teaching me English? What's happening? I like to move it.
Okay.
So, okay, I'm a little less worried when Dave thinks now. That was good.
It starts like any drive. Familiar road, familiar view. In a land that defies ordinary, so does the drive.